The food service, hospitality, and retail industries are evolving in ways you've never heard of until now. Hosted by global industry technovator Rob Grimes and powered by the IFBTA, Tech Bites is your go-to podcast, putting technology innovation and trends on the menu.
Rob Grimes with the IFBTA. As part of our mission, we work with organizations across the globe to promote food and beverage technology. In October, we had the pleasure of partnering with George Brophy and his team at Fortem International to participate and support the Hospitality Tech Expo in London. As part of the expo, I sat down with representatives from two of the lead sponsors, Kevin Dixon of Tevalis and Ross Taylor of the Lloyds Banking Group. In each conversation, we discussed their organization's contributions and offerings, as well as their perspectives on the trends and innovations impacting the industry. We hope you enjoy these conversations from London. So let me introduce Kev Dixon, who is the Director of Partnerships with Tevalis, and welcome to the IFBTA and Tech Bites.
Thanks for having me here, Rob.
So I first became aware of you guys a few years ago. I'm trying to think which is first, the chicken or the egg. I think it was out here at one of the early shows, maybe HRC or one of the early shows of this one. But then I ran into you guys at the Time Out Market in Boston when that opened up. And that's got to be like 5-6 years ago, and started looking it up and seeing that you guys really were doing food halls with Time Out all over the world. So tell us a little bit, about the applications and the partnerships and things that you do.
Yeah, it's Tevalis. We are an award-winning, industry-leading EPOS solution with a focus market being hospitality technology. We deliver our solutions both on-premise and in the cloud for hospitality operations, focused on the UK, but internationally as well. The key differentiator to Tevalis in this space is the fact that although we provide world-leading on-premise and in-cloud technology for point-of-sale and management, but we understand the value of interconnected technology and developing integrations with industry-leading providers and best-in-class solutions across payments, reservations, delivery channels, and many other pieces of technology.
How many different markets are you guys actually, in target markets or segments, industry segments do you sell in?
So hospitality focus purely, and that is all sectors of the hospitality.
Well, that's everything from pubs to hotels to food halls, stadiums, arenas.
A growing area is food halls, and another really growing area is competitive socializing venues, where you can gather an evening together with your pals and play a game competitively while you're enjoying food and drink. But that's not all. You look like a golf guy. Do you play golf?
No. Nobody would ever play golf with me because I'd be on my phone the whole time. You can't be doing email when you're playing golf.
We do also supply some of the world's leading golf courses, and I think one of the oldest golf courses in the world. So I'll leave that with you to figure out who those guys are.
Okay, well, I could make a comment on that one, but we'll just keep going on that particular one. So I could probably figure that out. But, there's also, the golf gaming industry as well, right?
Yeah,
so it's sort of a mix of a number of different things that are there. But there are specialty areas. But really, when you do all of hospitality, that also is a very complex market. It means, A, that you have to have distinct parts of your application that can work in those areas. But you already brought up the word integration. That means that you're also going to be integrating with other products that are specialists within each segment.
Absolutely. And look, we cut our teeth 20 years ago in the fine dining industry. So our first deployments were with Michelin star chefs in London.
Is that how the company got its start?
That's how we got started. That's
as
when
chefs?
So we first deployed our products to the end user in the fine dining space. Every single deployment in hospitality in that sort of area is very unique, which requires a deep understanding of specific requirements for that operation. Right. That allowed us to very quickly build a product stack that is very feature rich. And because of its feature richness, that then allows us to, very quickly allowed us to cross into other areas of hospitality with casual
Well, it'd be
dining.
sort of complex.
Very complex.
And also chefs are sort of like artists.
Yeah,
you know, first of all, they don't like, so chefs like technology, but they don't like technology because if you're doing things like you guys do back office and you'll do the inventory, the ordering, and the menu recipe management, well, a lot of chefs don't want to write their recipes down.
No, they don't. But if they can securely store that and ensure that every ingredient item within that recipe has maximized GP against it because of the technology that's being used, that's great. And that is the purpose of technology in the hospo space, is to create process automations, to make life easier for chefs, life easier for front of house operators, bar managers and FDs, and also maximize the revenue available. And
so what's the difference if that's where your start is and you still have kept at your roots in that, but you're also doing enterprise?
Yeah.
You know, people that have multi-restaurants and probably have more standardization between them. So how do you see the difference in your technology when you're dealing with the independent and the chef versus somebody who's a multi-unit enterprise customer?
Well, we don't. I think we actually treat every customer the same, i.e. we treat every customer differently, the same. The process for onboarding with Tevalis is a fully project managed solution, a fully project managed process, whereby our team are going to ingrain themselves within your business to allow them to understand exactly what you're looking to achieve, how we're going to achieve it, and how we answer these pain points. And whether that means deploying our technology and then tying that in with third-party pieces of technology as well.
Well, yeah, you're not asking somebody to throw away what they already have invested in, right? And that's more the case. But at the core and center of everything is going to be point of sale.
It is, absolutely, because it is the central piece of data processing within a hospitality venue. And it's where you're recording all of your sales. It's where you are centralizing your product catalog. It is where you are recording your tax for your tax liability. And it's how you're also monitoring the performance of your front of house team. It's how you're monitoring the performance of the products that you're selling. It's that essential point of data. Now, the thing is, the data created by a solution like that is also very valuable for you as an operator by using that data to enrich other platforms.
Well, you know, that's sort of the challenge for the industry today, because there's really so much data available, and a lot of operators don't know how to use the data. Now, it's interesting because as I walk this show here, I didn't see the word AI come up that much here, which means that I think it's here, but it's not the front thing that people are talking about. But how are you using your tools to sort that data and actually give somebody the information to manage better?
So a part of our core product is a business analytics platform and an insights platform. So what these platforms do is provide you with easy to use reports that will surface the data that you are looking for. In plain English.
Well, okay. I guess we have the King's English and we have I get
so, okay, I think maybe to simplify that, if you know what information you're looking for.
Hang on a second.
Toby wanted his back there.
No. Oh, shoot. That's the guy in Germany. I should shut I don't know if that got picked up there or not.
Just keep talking.
So the value in... So the Tevalis product itself can surface hundreds of different reports that have all been custom created based on client requirement. Operators, you as a FD of a hospitality operation, or a general manager, or a front of house manager, or a chef de partie, you know what information you need to surface in an actionable format to take that data away and use that. So we make it easy for you by providing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to sort of put it right in front of them, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you know, who has time to go through all that data? People want to run their restaurant; they're not running technology, right? So, I suppose that comes from your roots. Did you say that you guys started about 20 years ago?
Yeah, roughly.
Do you have customers that are actually from when you first got started?
Fair few, yeah.
Well, I mean, I do know that the industry's gone through a lot, and you know, there's some things that happen in there, but it's always interesting to sort of see where somebody's roots are. And
that's what makes us attractive as an ISV partner to other businesses. That's why we have card payments companies and reservations companies, etc., wanting to work with us, because integrating our product set the value that it drives to our customer means that that 12-month customer for that payments company then becomes a 60-month customer for that payments company, because the value of that integration, the value of our products that are integrated with their platform, means it's harder for the operator to want to leave because of the value they're seeing in that technology.
So how do you decide what is the next generation of the software and where you guys go? Do you have an advisory board?
So yeah, I mean, so we have a very skilled product team that manage the core product itself, both from a R&D cycle basis and a development roadmap basis, but also from actual product management perspective as well. And a lot of what our roadmap looks like today is shaped by the industry's experts, and the hospitality industry's experts are the operators, the restaurant owners, the operators servicing the public with their offering. And yeah, our product map is very much client-led. Our product roadmap is client-led, partner-led.
Well, you know, you guys are a leader in the industry over here, and you've been around for quite a while. So is there some observation that you have, you know, just from all the work that you're doing with the operators here in the UK and in the other places, is there some trends that you think are going to be the trends of the next 12 months, 18 months that people really need to start to focus on?
Really good question. I don't think it's really easy to answer. I think there are trends happening that maybe I agree with or maybe I don't agree with. One of the things that I've seen is there are a lot more one-stop solutions available. And I think what we deliver from a Tevalis perspective is almost that one-stop solution in terms of experience once it's implemented. But what we actually do is provide that choice of best in class and best in breed.
Yeah, so you know that's always a debate, because we've actually had a podcast. We've talked about the idea of you know best of breed versus all in one.
Yeah,
and you know the pros and the cons, and there's no real answer. You know, some people, as they say in the U.S., you know, they want one throat to choke, so they end up with an all in one. But the best of breed, especially as technology is moving so fast, people add different technologies all the time that have a single function, and they may be the best of that, or they weren't thinking, by the way, when they were doing it, and then you come in and now you have to, you know, do it. So I don't know that there is a single answer.
I think, yeah, and I think a key point to take with that as well, from a one throat to choke perspective, a business tends to have a key directive and what it's delivering, right? So, and I'm not going to name any names, and I think it's a really good good business model for certain areas of the hospitality space. Maybe not not the area where we're operating, but an all-in-one solution generally is focused on securing car payments revenue.
Right.
Okay. So
that has been a change in the industry.
It is.
Now, the interesting thing about that is you have the startup companies, let's say in the last 5 years, that were based on, you know, the financial side and the payment processing. But you also have some of the payment processing companies buying the legacy POS.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of both, you know, that are coming out there, but then people do want choices, and especially if they're multinational.
Yeah.
You know, so
absolutely,
it's good to offer it, but it's also good to have it decoupled.
Yeah, definitely. And even when it's decoupled, it should still be a singular experience. And that's why I do what I do in partnerships. Is, you know, the Tevalis business model itself is driven by servicing the hospitality industry with great technology.
You know, I understand the concept that your customers might drive some of those partnerships that you do, but you also, in your particular position, have to be looking at what's the next generation and the next big thing, because you have to think in advance of what kind of partnerships are you going to want, because a lot of times the consumers actually drive the technology, like payments is one of them, that they have to do, or social media or something like that. So, you know, it's a little bit of a balancing act for you, because you have to predict the future as well.
We have the need to predict the future, which we tend to be good at in following trends in the industry. But I think the importance is being able to act and behave with agility, being able to coin a British term, turn on a sixpence and follow requirement as and when it's needed, and embedding that into the pre-structured roadmap. It's the recipe for success.
So listen, just a couple of questions, just because taking advantage of where we are. So we're at the end of the show. Has the show been good for you?
Fantastic. This particular event is usually the highlight of the year. We generally attend 5 or 6 very successful trade show events for hospitality technology each year. This is always the last event of the year, and it's generally one of the most successful events, and this year's been no different.
So did you get a chance to walk the whole show here?
In between being pulled left and right.
Okay, well, we pulled you left and right too.
Yeah.
So was there something that sort of, it doesn't have to be tech now, was there something that just sort of stood out and took your notice here?
I'm gonna be really biased and say that not only our presence, but the presence of all of our key partners that we currently work with. You know, we tend to have the biggest mutual presence at these events, and it's, you know, we've seen some elements of the hospitality tech industry shy back from these events since the pandemic, and actually we're doubling down.
But technology exploded since the pandemic in this industry, so it's a little different. Well, look, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I will tell you that I really love the double-decker food truck or whatever that thing is over there. I thought that was pretty cool. And, you know, I just sort of walked around and, you never know what shows up. And clearly we're at the end of the show. So Kevin Dixon, Kev to his friends, we're now friends. So, and we're going to go to one of those gaming social halls because I don't play golf.
Yeah, okay,
but we can play video golf.
We'll do social at the auto.
There you go. We can go do that. Director of Partnerships for Tevalis, and one of the key supporters and sponsors and actually exhibitors here at the Hospitality Tech Expo. So thank you for joining me, the IFBTA, on Tech Bites.
Thank you, Rob.
Great. Thank you.
Cheers.
With the rapid expansion of technology in the food and beverage industries, finding the right supplier can become overwhelming and complicated. To simplify this process, the IFBTA created Exchange. Exchange is a powerful search tool where users can easily narrow down their technology search and refine results by application type, geography served, department, and more. Browse resources and learn more about the industry's technology suppliers at exchange.ifbta.org. Now, back to the show.
This is Ross Taylor, who is the Managing Director of the Sales Portfolio for Lloyd's CardNet. So welcome to Tech Bites.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
And welcome to the IFBTA too, actually.
Well remembered. That's quite a title, yeah.
Well, so generally when I go to these events, you know, I will see people in the industry that are doing processing, but usually it's somehow payments that are tied to the EPOS systems that are out there. But most of the time, I don't actually see a bank show up.
Yeah.
And I think it's very interesting that you've chosen, obviously, a technology show to show up. But why don't you, a sales portfolio, CardNet, why don't we explain first what that is, and then we'll take the conversation from there.
Okay, good. So Lloyds is a well-known bank in the UK.
I've heard of them before.
You might have heard of us. Yeah, we're
actually well-known outside the UK.
Yeah, exactly. And a large, internationally known name, and certainly within the UK, an important part of the UK economy. We've got 27 million consumer customers. We've got 1 million small business customers.
In the UK?
In the UK, and over 3,000 large institutional clients. So that gives us a unique perspective, I think, on the scale of change in the UK and really understanding what our customers' needs are. Our role here this time is within the merchant services world. And of course, Lloyds provides a really broad range of solutions. So all the usual lending products you'd expect from a large bank.
Of course.
Invoice finance, loans, overdrafts, all those sorts of things. But we also do things like Lex Auto Finance. We've got insurance businesses, and really meeting the needs of pretty much every business in the UK for whatever they might need.
Okay, but we're here at a tech event, in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So obviously that must be an important vertical for you.
It's a hugely important vertical.
To be here. So what specific services, or how do you target a vertical like hospitality?
Yeah, look, hospitality as relates to merchant services is an industry which we've supported through the pandemic. We're really clear about the role that Lloyd's have to play in supporting the industry. And actually, the good news is that post-pandemic, in the last year to the end of March, we saw 14% growth in the industry, which is great, and we want to continue to support that. We see our customers undergoing a lot of change, and that change is continuing, not only in terms of the return from COVID, but also in terms of the technology that's brought to bear in running their businesses every day. And as relates to payments, I think we've moved from a large portion of our business, which it still is, which is simple payment terminals, just using a card to make a simple payment, to one that's increasingly moving towards omni-channel and being really integrated into software solutions.
So, every time I have a conversation with somebody, I learn something.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here thinking about what was a 14% increase?
Yeah, in the year to March. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, it's one of two things. It's either because the business is going up, or it's because there was, in fact, a change during COVID, and you see hospitality companies, especially restaurant companies, doing more e-commerce transactions with online ordering.
Yeah.
Now, in the U.S., we keep hearing that the industry's been sort of flat, but they have a new revenue center in Daypart through delivery and takeout.
Yeah.
So do you have some sort of analysis or analytics that might say, in fact, why 14%, so far growth?
I think it's a combination of things. I think, firstly, the world of card payments is still growing. So card is now king. Cash used to be king, so the analogy went, it's now card.
But we still haven't gotten restaurants to go card only.
No, lots of places still want to take a combination of cards and cash, which meets customer needs as we're transitioning between different payment methods. And that's fine, and we'll support all of those needs. As relates to the industry, I think it's a combination of things. One is the post-COVID bump, where people want to go out, they want to have more pleasurable, more enjoyable, more social experiences. And so we're seeing some of that benefit coming through. We've seen a big increase in particular in the 60-plus demographic. So if you look at things like, interestingly, cruise liners is a huge bump after post-COVID.
They called that travel revenge travel, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so we've seen that coming through. We can see that in our data.
So are we talking about people coming into the UK, because you guys are primarily doing servicing in the UK, so it'd be inbound, right, working with the merchants.
That's right. It's both things. So it's people who from the UK who want to go abroad and they want to have new experiences.
Oh, of course,
it's also the return of travel back into the UK, where we've got overseas travellers coming who want to have a really frictionless payment experience while they're in the UK. And so that's really at the forefront of our minds as well, to make sure that the merchants we work with and the integrations we have give that smooth omni-channel ease of payment experience, so that it's frictionless for customers.
So, a lot of people use the word omni-channel, and, it means different things to different people. In the hospitality and the restaurant world, there's an awful lot of data out there now. And if you're right that the card is king, that's going to be a lot more data about the consumers, about what they're doing. Are you providing any kind of products, not to just be a bank and to handle the merchant processing, but actually to help somebody to build and grow their business?
Yeah, I think so. I think the insight we can provide, certainly in the institutional space, is that data capture, and really to be able to play back not only our customers' own data, but also the data for the whole industry back to our customer base, so they can make smarter and more informed decisions about where they invest and where they want to take their businesses in the future. So data from our perspective is a huge asset, just given our scale. I mean, the CardNet business touches roughly 25% of all card transactions in the UK.
I would bet.
So we have a huge scale, and we feel in order to help Britain prosper, which is our mission, we need to use that data for the common good to provide the right solutions to our customers, but also to provide that direct insight, which we think can help.
So Ross, it's not just about being a bank and doing the merchant processing.
No.
Because you're collecting an awful lot of data.
Yeah.
And I would assume that data is probably very insightful to the industry in general. Plus, you probably, as part of your service, are providing data analytics and helping your customers to grow, because the more they grow, the more transactions, the more it makes sense. So what kinds of data, or what kinds of aha moments have you had, in our industry?
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges of being so large and so significant in the UK payment space is we have so much data. So the trick, I think, is how do you distill that so it's something that's useful and usable for our client base? So let me give you a couple of examples. So we can see the recovery of spending in different sectors, and we see that before it shows up in the economic data. So that helps us give really early insight to our customer base. We know that we talked about cruise liners and people going on ships. That's up 29.6% since year on year. We know that airlines have gone up 13%, and we see this data in real time. Fast food, we talked about the aggregators and the payment platforms.
That's right.
That's up 9.6%.
You can go down to the granular level and look at like e-commerce transactions for like online ordering and delivery and takeout.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have that data split, which we can then play back to our customer base, and also just play back to the economy in general, for the common good. So I think that insight really helps with people. Some of the more fun stuff. We now know that Tuesdays are the new Fridays. So post-COVID,
is there going to be a restaurant chain called Tuesdays?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. There's a space for that recently, but
yes, there is.
Yeah, look, but we can see that the spending patterns of people has changed through post-COVID. Working patterns have changed, and so that is directly impacting the hospitality industry. And so we can see that.
And so, how do you provide that information to your customers?
Yeah, well, we play back through newsletters. We can give specific insight through our communications. We're communicating with our customer base all the time, and some are really into the data, some less so. They want more practical help. So we've got lots of channels. We've got broad reach. Our relationship management teams, which are across the UK, can provide that insight to our customer base.
Do you have specialists that handle industry verticals?
We do, yeah. And certainly within the payments industry, we know that where we relationship manage customers, we're able to have that extra layer of insight and knowledge share, which I think really brings value to bear for the customers, which other providers aren't able to provide in the same way. And then look, the final one is 60s are the new 20s. So the 60 plus demographic, we know they're out there, we know they're spending, we know they're enjoying themselves. And look, the 20s, they're doing their best to keep up. They've got a little way to go just at the minute.
But the 60s want to be in the 20s.
Maybe.
So I think the bottom line, I think what you would say with all the data and insights is working with Lloyd's is a smart choice.
I would say so.
There you go.
But it's also a smart choice with practical benefit. We're not just providing insight. We're
and
on
I
the
think
ground
the practical is actually a very key word in there.
Right.
So,
yeah.
This industry has been changing over the last few years. It started, pre-COVID, but, they all went to cloud-based. So I don't argue with people anymore as to whether they should go cloud-based or not.
Sure.
However, we also started to see a lot of POS providers who are embedding the merchant processing into the deal, into the software as a service, but they have the processing in there. But then you also have ones that are not embedding.
Yeah.
So my guess is that not only are you working directly with the operators and their companies, but you probably are working with some of the companies that are here at this show to provide them that platform.
We are. Payments is an ecosystem, and that there is no one provider to rule them all. And it really is about where are the partnerships that you have to meet the needs of the chosen demographics you're going after. So we're partnering with lots of different businesses to provide that capability that we wouldn't choose to provide. It's not our core business.
Right.
And we're providing the payments engine that drive those solutions. At the same time, through things like our partnership with Fiserv, we have the Clover devices, which allow us to then provide management tools, software as a service on the terminals that we are providing.
Are you actually providing Clover terminals
we are.
as well?
Yeah. So we have the Clover.
So you are in the POS business?
We are in the POS business.
Especially for the smaller retailers that might be using those kinds of terminals,
right? I think one of our really unique points is through that Clover proposition, whereby we can provide not just the point of sale device, but the management tool and software overlay, which just enables customers to run their business more smoothly, really cost. And
it helps the small independents as well to be able to get up and actually, as you think about it, the pop-ups and the trucks and people that are really can do business anywhere, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you think about the small business. I think there's been a perception of a barrier to entry for some of those more complex payments, omni-channel experiences. But Clover enables that, so we can have customers, towards the lower end of our book, who have not only face-to-face payments but really seamless online payments through a gateway, and then also having that omni-channel experience, so the two talk to each other.
So you handle a whole portfolio in here. So you're probably not just the hospitality industry.
That's right.
How many industries do you actually focus on as verticals?
Yeah, look, from a Lloyd's perspective, we cover all of the industries you expect us to.
Right.
We are ubiquitous across the UK, but we're very strong in lots of sectors, including agriculture, local authorities, healthcare, education, all those things.
But I would bet the restaurant, hospitality, and retail industries are in there.
That's right. So those trading sectors play a huge part, especially in merchant services. So if you think about the things that are going to be important from a payments perspective, hospitality,
Right.
leisure, retail, healthcare.
So do you have a favorite?
Well, I like to go to restaurants. and eat and drink.
Everybody has to
Yeah.
eat, right?
Well, this is the beauty of coming to this place, is there's so many stalls to stop by, and they're shoving
Oh,
food
wait a
at
minute.
you.
Wait.
A good place for energy.
So there's a
bad
lot of
place for
tech
waste
here,
time. Yeah.
but there's also, some restaurant shows and food shows as well, where you probably would find a little bit more than here, because you can't really eat the computer
the
terminals.
marketing teams.
But there is a beer area, and there's like beverages down that side, right?
1 o'clock, it turns from coffee to canapes and drinks. So yeah, we've noticed that trend as well.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure to speak with you, and it's Ross Taylor with Lloyds Bank, and he is the managing director of the sales portfolio within the CardNet, and one of the highlighted and special supporters and sponsors of the Hospitality Tech Expo. So Rob Grimes with Tech Bites and the IFBTA, and thank you for joining us. This podcast is brought to you by the International Food and Beverage Technology Association. The IFBTA is the industry's voice of food service, hospitality, and retail technology, providing thought leadership as your single, impartial, and go-to resource. The IFBTA offers in-person and online communities to connect with your peers, the exchange, an all-encompassing global technology resource, and an industry-wide professional education and certification program. The bottom line is the IFBTA is your place to gather, learn, and share in conversations like the one we're having today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Tech Bites, powered by the IFBTA. I'm Rob Grimes, your host, and I look forward to taking our next bite of technology together.